Hey guys, it's me, Pascal from Orange Pixel. The last couple of weeks, last couple of videos, I've mostly been talking about business related stuff and Q&As. And of course that 15-year as a game developer video or as an indie game developer video. So I kinda almost forgot to talk about Space Grunts 2, my game. That doesn't mean I haven't been working on the game. I've been pushing updates almost weekly, except for the last few weeks because Christmas and holidays, New Year, things like that. But there's a lot to talk about on Space Grunts 2. So that's what this video is gonna be about. Space Grunts 2, a little update, and it might just be the last video about Space Grunts 2 because I need to move on to new games. And it's actually releasing on Android coming Tuesday. So you can already pre-register. Check down there in the description. There's a little link for it. It's coming Tuesday. So a lot of stuff to talk about after the intro. Have you actually noticed the intro is new? Just after the intro. Alright, so November the game released on iPhone, iOS. It was the first official release because it's still in early access on Steam. Pretty much because Steam was having a Steam winter sale, and I think I have to be fast to release it there because there's gonna be a lunar sale or something like that in February. There's a lot of sales on Steam and you don't want to release a game during a sale. So I have to figure out when the right time is to release it on Steam. But it's released on iPhone, and that doesn't mean I stopped working on the game because every Friday I push an update to iOS and on Tuesday I push that same update to the PC version. So I think I pushed about 4 or 5 big updates. And of course next Tuesday, as I just mentioned, it will be released on Android, which will contain everything including the release version with all these updates. And here and there a couple of bug fixes. So I just wanted to give a little update on the status of the game. So this is probably going to be the last video about Space Grunts because, well, to be honest, I'm pretty much done with it. All the ideas and the things I wanted to add to the game are in there. And then some more because I came up with new ideas and added those to the game. So I might come up with new ideas to add, but for now, the game is done. This is it. This is how it's going to be released on the platforms. All right, so let's talk about some of the main key features that have been added to the game. One very much requested feature and a lot of people asked for is they wanted to see more information on your current deck, on all the cards in your deck. My original idea was that I don't really want the player to know which cards are in the deck. It's this type of game. It's not a deck building game. There is just a deck, you can't see what's in there, it's shuffled and you pick random cards and play with those cards. But since so many people asked for it, I came to a solution that kind of works for both me and those players. So I redesigned the pause screen to show a lot of information on what's in your deck. It doesn't show the order of the cards, it just shows you what's in the deck and how many of each type of card you have in your deck. This is pretty much a solution that was pleasing to all the players that asked for this kind of information. And for me as the designer, it works because it doesn't show you which card you're about to play, but it still shows you some information on what's there. So this was a very much requested feature, or at least very vocally. A couple of players really wanted this. I had them on the PC and had them on iPhone. So that's in the game right now. Okay, so this was a requested feature from the players, and I also had some input myself because sometimes I have good ideas and sometimes less. Anyway, I had some good ideas. One of them was adding challenges, which is a completely different game mode. The game currently ships with 8 challenges, and a challenge is a much shorter game session. You only have 1 level per area instead of the 2 or 3 levels. So that's 5 levels and then you're done. It does come with an end boss, but if you complete a challenge, you can earn a trinket. A trinket is like a little figurine or thingy in a thingamabob. And basically they give you extra powers if you collect them during the game. So let's go to the challenges first and explain those. For example, we have a darkness challenge. And as the name suggests, the game will be dark, shrouded in darkness. So you don't really see everything around you, and it's slightly harder to play than the normal version, but not very extreme. That's why it's the first challenge and probably the easiest challenge. Other challenges are the Martian challenge, where you only have Martians as enemies and opponents. which can be pretty challenging, especially in the early levels when you're on low experience points. Another challenge is that you don't get any defense or shield cards. So you only get to play with action cards or item cards, but no shield cards. Pretty interesting challenge. All these challenges will award you with different trinkets, and those trinkets then give you special powers in a game. Another update was new level layouts. So I just designed new blocks for the rooms, and those rooms are then used in the generator, giving you completely new layouts. And the final big update I did was adding buff cards, which is a permanently unlockable update to the game. Buff cards will enhance your character, so if you completed a normal game run, defeated the end boss, you got to pick 1 out of 3 buff cards. These buff cards will vary and are random. Unless you unlock all of them, then there's nothing to unlock. I think I added 8 buff cards to the game, something like that. And this is just a great reward for those that actually made it to the end and completed the end boss. Multiple times you get to unlock multiple buff cards, and you get to pick those when you start a new game. Alright, so that's Space Grunts 2. Those were all the updates, or at least the big updates I did. The game launched on iOS officially, and it did actually do pretty good. It became New Games We Love on the App Store, and it didn't do extremely well numbers, but it did good enough to almost become profitable. It already did better than Gunslugs. I talked about that game last month. It did better than Gunslugs on Steam, even though this one is still in early access and not officially released. So it already did better numbers there. And next Tuesday it will launch on Android. So I really hope if you're an Android gamer, try out this game. It's Space Grunts, but with cards, and it actually works out pretty well. I really like it, so just give it a try. What's the damage? Just give it a check out the game. It's on iPhone now. Check it out on Android next Tuesday, or in early access on Steam, which is pretty much the release version, except it's not officially released just yet, but pretty much the same version. And it's a bit cheaper right now than it will be after it releases. It's gonna go up in price for probably $2, give or take a bit. So that's Space Grunts 2. On to the next game. Now before we end this video, let's just check the comments on last week's video. Last week was my business plan 2020. So I'm just gonna read the top comments here and there and see the most interesting comments. Released 3 or 4 games this year. Whoa, I can't even get to finish one in 2 years. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about my whole 3 or 4 game plan pretty soon in one of the videos. Of course, I have some ideas on how I'm gonna pull this off, because 3 or 4 games is pretty hard, but I have some solid plans, and we're gonna talk about all that. This is where I get my motivation to keep pushing in this tough game dev world, so never stop uploading these videos. Great to see that you get motivation from my videos. As long as I can keep this up, I will keep doing this, and I might even upload more videos as mentioned last week. So good luck. Hope I'll release my game too. Regarding tech videos, awesome. I like to see how you architecture your code for the whole game, and also how you do enemies, especially AI. I think it's one of my topics I wrote down, and I got a couple of topics, and it's gonna be different topics than normal tech videos, I think, but we'll see how it works out. Keep going, man. People like you inspire me to pursue a career as an indie game dev, which is my dream. Yeah, I also mentioned in various videos that make sure you know what you're getting into. It's a very hard world and a very tough world to succeed in. First launch by February, that's quite fast. Hope all goes well. I think I have a video planned next week that will talk about that first game. I've already been working on it a little bit in December and November. I'll talk about everything on that game next week or the week after, but soon. Good luck with 2020. I hope you have a better year than last year. Sir Questionnaire is a fun game, so maybe do one similar game. Thanks. I also hope this year will be better. And yes, I want to do more games with Sir Questionnaire or about Sir Questionnaire. I just don't have clear ideas yet on what it should be and how it should be. So it's probably gonna happen at some point, but don't know when. What's your opinion about iOS Game Arcade? Do you consider pushing the game on there? Do you also take some time to do freelance work in between? iOS Game Arcade, I'm not a fan of subscription models. I think it's gonna be a very hard market if we end up there. Just look at the music business and Spotify and how that works out for artists. And of course, artists can actually perform on stage. Game developers can't. We have only one way to sell our games, and that's selling them. And if they're pushed in a subscription model, right now the money might be very good because these subscription models are still building their branch and their awareness, so they're paying developers good money. But at some point they don't really need developers anymore, and that money will be gone, and it will be split, and it will be very tiny percentages. So not a fan of it. And besides that, there's really not an easy opening in getting your game into arcade or Apple Arcade. I know just 1 or 2 developers that are in there, and it's been very hard to get in there from what I understand. So it's not something that you can just upload or sign up for. It's a mystery. It's like a big black box, Apple's big black box. Getting in there is close to impossible, I think. I don't know. Right, so those were the comments on YouTube. There were a lot more comments. Thank you for those. I will reply to them after doing this video. And that's it for this week's video. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.